Hey, welcome. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever worked for a company and thought, this just doesn't feel right? Maybe a manager asked you to cut corners. Maybe you watched a colleague get treated unfairly and nobody said a word. Or maybe you're building something of your own and you're wondering how to make decisions you can actually be proud of. If any of that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. Because right now, business ethics isn't just a course requirement or a box to check on a corporate compliance form. It is one of the most urgent, most relevant conversations happening in boardrooms, courtrooms, newsrooms, and living rooms across the world. Companies are being held accountable in ways they never were before. Employees have platforms and voices. Consumers are voting with their wallets. And the definition of what it means to be a responsible business is changing faster than most organizations can keep up with. So understanding the ethical landscape isn't optional anymore. It is essential. This playlist is a complete walkthrough of the textbook business ethics, and I'm going to guide you through every single chapter. Whether you're a student, a professional, an entrepreneur, or just someone who cares about doing the right thing in a complicated world, this series was built for you. Let's take a quick tour of what we're covering. We start with Chapter 1, Why Ethics Matter. This opening chapter makes the case for why ethical thinking isn't just morally nice to have, it's strategically essential. We look at the real costs of unethical behavior, and the very real rewards that come when organizations lead with integrity. Chapter 2 takes us back in time with ethics from antiquity to the present. From Aristotle to Kant to modern corporate governance, we trace how human beings have wrestled with questions of right and wrong across centuries. Understanding where these ideas came from gives you a much sharper lens for evaluating the ethical frameworks you'll encounter today. Then, in Chapter 3, we get into defining and prioritizing stakeholders. Who exactly does a business owe something to? Shareholders? Customers? Employees? The community? This chapter helps you understand how to identify the full range of people affected by business decisions, and how to think through competing interests when they come into conflict. Chapter 4 expands that circle even further with three special stakeholders: society, the environment, and government. These aren't stakeholders who show up to a meeting or send an email, but their stake in what businesses do is enormous. This chapter examines corporate social responsibility, environmental stewardship, and the often complicated relationship between business and regulatory power. Chapter 5 explores the impact of culture and time on business ethics. What's considered ethical in one country, one industry, or one era might be viewed very differently somewhere else or 50 years later. This chapter pushes you to think about ethics not as a fixed rule book, but as something shaped by context, history, and human values in constant evolution. In Chapter 6, we shift to a question that affects every working person: what employers owe employees. Fair wages, safe conditions, respect, opportunity. This chapter digs into the obligations organizations carry toward the people who show up every day to make them work. And Chapter 7 flips that around entirely: what employees owe employers. Loyalty, honesty, confidentiality, effort. The employment relationship is genuinely a two-way street, and this chapter examines the ethical responsibilities employees carry, especially in a world where the lines between personal and professional are increasingly blurred. Chapter 8 broadens the lens with recognizing and respecting the rights of all. From discrimination to privacy to accessibility, this chapter addresses the rights that all individuals bring into the workplace, and why honoring those rights isn't just a legal requirement. It's a foundation of ethical culture. Chapter 9 puts professions under the microscope. Certain fields carry special ethical weight because the stakes are so high and the trust required is so deep. We look at how professions like medicine, law, accounting, and engineering navigate unique ethical pressures and what the rest of us can learn from their codes of conduct. Chapter 10 looks ahead with changing work environments and future trends: remote work, artificial intelligence, the gig economy, automation. The world of work is transforming at a pace that ethics frameworks haven't always kept up with. This chapter helps you think proactively about the ethical questions that are just around the corner. And we close with the epilogue: why ethics still matter. After everything we've covered, this final reflection brings it all home. It's a reminder that no matter how complex the business landscape gets, the core question remains the same: are we doing right by each other? Now let me tell you what you're going to be able to do after watching this full playlist. You'll be able to identify ethical issues in real business situations before they become crises. You'll have a working knowledge of the major ethical theories and how to apply them to actual decisions. You'll understand the full stakeholder picture and how to balance competing interests thoughtfully. You'll know your rights and responsibilities in the workplace, whether you're the one giving direction or receiving it. You'll be equipped to have meaningful conversations about corporate social responsibility, diversity, sustainability, and the future of work. And most importantly, you'll have a stronger, clearer ethical compass of your own. This isn't about memorizing definitions or passing a test. This is about becoming the kind of thinker, leader, employee, or entrepreneur that the world genuinely needs more of right now. So here's what I want you to do. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss a single chapter. Each video in this playlist goes deep on one chapter, with real examples, practical takeaways, and clear explanations that will stick with you long after the video ends. Whether you're watching for school, for work, or just for yourself, you are going to walk away with something valuable every single time. Click on the first chapter video right now, and let's start building your foundation in business ethics together. The conversation starts with one simple question that turns out to be anything but simple. Why does ethics matter? Let's find out.